So, if you're clicking on this video, I've probably titled it something like, "When I Quit McDonald's to Go All In on High Ticket Sales." Something like that. And essentially, if you don't know who I am, I was working at McDonald's 5 years ago selling fries, making $19 an hour. And in the last 5 years, I've closed $6 million in high ticket sales. There's been a lot of highs, there's been a lot of lows, and a big journey to get there. And when we see people online talking these numbers, it's very easy to think that they just had it figured out from the start. Truth is, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing when I got into sales. I got into it accidentally. I didn't even know I was in sales until 9 months into it. And you're probably thinking, how the fuck did you not know you were into sales? Well, here's a quick story. When I was working at McDonald's, I was also studying construction management at university. And about 4 weeks into my degree, COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I was studying online, and honestly, I was looking at the screen, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I don't even enjoy this. The only reason I was studying anything was because throughout the whole high school, friends, family, teachers, what are you gonna do when you finish school? And I didn't have an answer until I met one of my dad's friends who did like this thing called quantity surveying. He made 6 figures from it. I was like, okay, sweet, I guess I'll do that. I really just fell into it. No passion, no drive for it. I just thought that was what I should do. So I was doing that, and I was looking at the screen 4 weeks in when I was studying at home, and I was bored as fuck. And then I was on TikTok one day, and I saw this dude called Jason Capital. Now, some of you might not know this, and it's pretty embarrassing to say, especially online on YouTube, but fuck it. I was addicted to porn around that time. Like, I was watching it like once a day. Like, it was pretty bad. And I saw this guy, Jason Capital, talk about porn addiction. And he was talking about a lot of self-development and ways to get over it, why people do it, all that sort of stuff. And when I saw that, I really resonated with him. And I resonated with his brand and what he was saying, and he spoke very well. So I followed him for a while. And then one day on Instagram, he put up on his story saying that he's looking for 3 to 4 guys to make an extra few $1,000s a month typing messages on social media. I was like, sweet, that looks cool. Let's have a look at what it is. Again, this was during COVID, so I was at home, I had more time on my hands, and I was looking for an online way to make money. I looked into dropshipping, I looked into agency work, I saw a bunch of different stuff. I almost joined an e-commerce program, and then I was chatting to Jason's, who now I look back and know it was his DM setter. I was chatting to him on Instagram, and long story short, he sold me on his program to become a DM setter. Now, I didn't even know what a DM setter was at the time. All I knew is the program was called Instagram Boss. I had no other context besides that. Anyway, it was $1,000 US, and I shat my pants because I had like $2 grand in my account, and I gave him a think about it objection. I told him I was going to go chat with my friends, my family, all this sort of stuff. Spoke to my friends, and my friends were like, don't do it. They thought it was dropshipping, even though it wasn't. They were like, it's dead, don't do it, just go to uni, make money, invest your money in the S&P 500, right? That was the norm. Anyway, I told Jason this in the DMs, or his DM setter, whatever it was. It might have been my friend Danny Burchard. Danny, if you're listening, shout out to you. You might have closed me in the DMs. Anyway, I was chatting to him and I said, you know, this is what my friend said. And he asked me in the DM something that really stuck with me. He said, do any of the guys that you're asking for advice for live the life that you want to live? And I thought about that. I really did. I thought, does anyone actually have the life I want? My friends, my family, I love these people, but no, they don't. They don't make as much money as I want to make. They don't have as much freedom, as much time as I want to have. So why am I listening to them? And as soon as that clicked, I bought the program. Now, when I first got into the program, again, I was lost as a puppy. I had no idea where I was, what I was doing, who these people were. And then all of a sudden, I got a bunch of messages from guys in the Facebook group, then trying to sell me on another mentorship to sell Instagram followers, which I actually did. So then I paid another $1,500 US to grow my own Instagram by like 20,000 followers at the time. It's a different account that I had back in the day. And then I would go and resell Instagram followers. So I did that for 9 months. I posted my own content. I did 50 to 100 cold DMs a day from my Instagram. I'd message them, get them on a call eventually, and try and close them. And that was my first ever sales role. And I did that for 9 months. I had a girlfriend at the time. I was pretty comfortable. I did whatever I wanted after the morning, where I did a few hours work for the US hours, and I was chilling. Now, in the beginning, I was working at McDonald's. So as soon as I made my week's worth of wage in a day is when I quit. So I think it happened one day, I got like 2 sales, I made 900 Australian dollars. I was like, fuck this, I'm out of McDonald's, and I handed in my resignation the next day. And what was cool about it is, a bit of context, at the McDonald's I was working at, there were a lot of people that said they were gonna quit, and they just never did. They always stuck around, they always stayed longer than they thought they were going to, and they always had these reasons and excuses, right? A month before I quit, I said to everyone, I said, I'm gonna be quitting in a month. And I didn't give formal resignation, but I just said it. And everyone was like, oh yeah, cool, like what are you gonna do, blah, blah, blah. I even got some shit once I started posting on Instagram. People were like, oh, you're gonna try and be an influencer, what are you doing, what's this, blah, blah, blah. You know, as you do. And to be honest, it did get to me at the time. And I was like, fuck you guys, I'm gonna prove you wrong. That's what drove me, I'll be honest. Anyway, so then I made the money, I handed in the resignation, and the manager was like, oh, you're quitting? I was like, yeah, said I was gonna quit like a month ago. And she's like, oh, okay. They were kind of sad to see me go, which was a bit interesting because I was like, okay, where was this before? Anyway, long story short, so I quit Macca's, did that for 9 months, and then 9 months in, I was like, okay, cool. This Instagram role's going well, but I want to do something else. I'm not quite making the money I want to make. I think I've got potential for more. Bounced between a few different offers, and then eventually I found out about inbound remote high ticket sales, where people literally like book into your calendar. Now, it doesn't mean that everyone is like ready to buy before they jump on the call, despite what other marketers will tell you. But what it did mean is I didn't have to message 50 people to get them on a call. I had someone else that was doing the marketing, and I got a slightly less percentage commission, but I could make way more because my time was more leveraged. So then I did that, and that brings me to today, where I've been doing that for the last 5 years. I've, like I said, closed over 6 million in high ticket sales. I've worked with the likes of Zach Perner and a bunch of other guys you probably see on your Instagram feed. And it's been a wild journey. And now I run Closers Cult, which is a mentorship. So after 5 years in the trenches myself, closing, setting, managing sales teams, I now teach others how to do it and kind of skip all of the mistakes that I made early on. Because if I knew what I know now, when I first started, I wouldn't have wasted 9 months on that role. I probably would have moved on a lot quicker. But yeah, that's essentially the story of how I went from McDonald's to high ticket sales and traveling the world. Right now I'm in a place called Dubai. You may have heard of it. You may see other gurus renting Lambos here. And I've been tempted, but I haven't yet. And no, I don't have a Rolex either. I'm just a normal Aussie dude traveling the world, seeing what this place has to offer, meeting cool people on the way. And yeah, that's how I got here in the short of it. Now there's a lot more details and I'll probably tell other stories another time. But yeah, for those of you wondering how I got into this space, that is how. And I'll see you in the next one.